Welcome to Home Gym History, produced by Garage Gym Radio, your one-stop shop for all those podcasts about the home gym life. Thanks for listening today because this is kind of like the trilogy. If you listen to my C.T. Fletcher episode and you listen to my Josh Bryant episode, you may have picked out something that those two gentlemen have in common, and that would be a connection with tonight's guest. The one, the only, the bodybuilding legend, Craig Monson. I have him on the phone here. Welcome, Mr. Monson.
Hello everyone.
It's nice to have you here on Home Gym History. And if you don't know, listeners, Josh Bryant called Mr. Monson kind of a purple unicorn because you may have seen pictures or heard stories about him. He's kind of this legendary figure, and I mean that in the most complimentary way, sir. So C.T. Fletcher describes how walking down the beach, heading towards Muscle Beach, he just saw this shadow. He saw this massive man, and that was you. So, what can you tell us about the start of your strength history, Mr. Monson? Like growing up, I know you built a lot of the equipment that you used out of wood, maybe, built a bench, early equipment, stuff like that. How did you get started lifting weights?
Started back in 1963 on milk crates and a 2x4s in the backyard. A guy named Johnny Boyd and Raymond Burns put the weights in my hand when I was 13 years old. We worked out in their backyard. Okay, and from there, I started in my backyard with weights. 1963, John F. Kennedy was assassinated. When they announced it over the PA system in my junior high school, I was in my gym class, and I had dumbbells in my hand at 13 years old, sitting on a bench doing curls.
Wow.
Yes, at 13 years old. They let the school out early because the president of the United States had been assassinated, 1963. And I was 13 then. I'll be 73 in December. And I'm still in the gym. I was in the gym yesterday, which was Tuesday, and I did 3 hours in the gym with a youngster that I'm working with, my workout partner. Okay, so I'm training him. I'm not getting paid for it. I train him because he keeps me going, the youngsters.
Yeah.
Okay, he's Cuban, just like my idol, Sergio Olivia.
Oh, yeah.
When I saw this kid, and I asked him what nationality, he says Cuban and Puerto Rican. I said, man, my idol was Cuban. And I said, you're doing that wrong. What are you working? He didn't have a clue what he was doing.
No.
And so that first day, I kind of played around, showed him this and that and other. And the next day he came up to me and asked me, could you show me this and that? And I'm like, yes, let's do some back arms. He wanted to work his arms.
Yeah.
And I still call them back arms. I don't call them tricep extensions. I said, let's lay on the bench and do some back arms. Okay. And since June to now, he told me yesterday, he said, Big Craig, these don't even look like my arms. What a compliment, right?
Talking about arms, I know one of your early influences was Leroy Culver. And that gentleman, my goodness, I'll make sure I drop a picture of Leroy Culver in here. He had some of the most impressive arms in the history of, bodybuilding and fitness. What kind of, was that like the starting point of you with Leroy Culver wanting to?
1969, I was 19.
Okay.
And my workout partner, Big Donnie Charlotte, took me to my first bodybuilding show. He also took me to Venice Beach at 16, the first time I had ever been to Venice Beach. So we go to the first bodybuilding show, and it was for Mr. California, downtown LA, at the Grant Hotel. Leroy Culver was competing. Okay, and he came out of that show with about 7 trophies: best arms, best back, best legs, best abs, all this kind of best stuff, right?
Okay.
And when he leaned over to pick over, he had too many trophies in front of him. But he didn't win the overall show. And this was my first show.
Yeah.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger and Dave Draper were guest posing.
Okay.
And they got up on the stage and they guest posed together with leopard skins on and wraparound Roman sandals that wrapped up their calf. Okay. And the brown bomber, Dave Draper, had long blonde hair to his shoulders.
Wow.
Arnold's hair was pretty long, but these boys were the biggest white boys I had ever seen in my life.
Yeah. And they had that like Herculean, or I guess like ancient Greek kind of dress with the leopard skins, like old time strongman almost kind of deal.
Yes, and see, right after that, Dave Draper had a show on Sundays called The Gladiators, and he was of the show. So I had to watch it every Sunday after that. But anyhow, at that particular show, Leroy Kobler got all these trophies, but guess who won the overall?
I think I know the answer to, because I've been blessed to read Josh Bryant's book, but I'll let you tell it.
Yeah, Frank Zane.
Oh, yeah, Frank Zane.
I had never seen anybody with that many muscles. Leroy was huge, but Frank Zane had all these little intricate muscles. Okay, he was ripped to shreds.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and like I said, I had never seen that before. Okay, and during my era, it was always bigger the better. Okay.
Sure.
But at my first show, I see this guy with all these cuts and very symmetrical, very, very appeasing to the eye. Okay. You could see, he got big boy beat because everything is showing. Okay. He got muscles that I had never seen before.
Yeah.
All right. That day was after the show, out in the lobby, on one side of the corridor, Frank Zane was selling his memorabilia. And he had already put on his sweat attire. Okay, and on the other side, Leroy was sitting there with a tank top on with 21-inch guns hanging. So I wanted to go over here and look at this big boy.
Yeah.
Okay. And Frank Zane, he was a small guy with his clothes on. He didn't even look like he buffed. He didn't look like he trained. Okay, remember he was a school teacher.
Sure.
Yes. So I'm on the side over here with Leroy Kobler, but my eyes keep looking over to the guy who won the show. Okay. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, But Leroy's sitting at his desk with all these trophies on top, okay? And I think I bought a picture or something, a signed autograph picture. But I left out of that contest bewildered.
Yeah.
Okay. But I said to my buddy down in Charlotte, which was my workout buddy, which we built his garage into our first gym. And he and I are still friends. He still go to Venice Beach right now today. They call him a beach bum because he's there every Sunday. But he's 72 years old. His birthday is January the 1st. Mine is December 4th. He still go out there.
Oh, God bless him. That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't go to Venice anymore because after the COVID epidemic, the homeless people, they took over, but they cleaned it up. And it had got kind of riffraff,
I see.
And I didn't feel comfortable out there anymore,
Gotcha. But you're still working out and you're in your 70s. And that's when my listeners, if they are just listening, if you're not watching a video, if you just look up Craig Monson on Instagram, you'll see some pictures of him. Or if you just Google him, Craig Monson Bodybuilding, you'll see some pictures of him. I'll drop his website in the description here to all my podcasts. You'll see that, you were a big big man. And now in your 70s, I mean, that's some longevity. You're still moving, still lifting. So that was one of my things I wanted to ask you. You know, you overcame many obstacles in your life, and we'll get into some of those. But since it's on my mind, you know, is there any advice you give to a lifter and a young lifter like the gentleman you said you're working out with, this 20-year-old, or someone like myself? I'm in my 40s, for longevity.
Nobody was there in my time, to tell me about the the damage that all the heavy weight can do to the body. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, when I did rap with Sergio Olivia, because I had his private number and I could call him in Chicago and pick his brain, okay, and he had me doing the heavy curls and the heavy lunges, but nobody told me how the damage that it would cause in the knees and the tailbone. You know, my knees are shot from doing all the heavy squats. Okay, so I don't preach heavy workouts anymore. Okay, I preach moderate weight reps. Okay, but I know you got to test yourself.
Sure.
You still want to get into the gym and want to hit that 500 pounds on the bench. You know, you have to. You got to get up on the 500 to test yourself. But like I said, my knees are bad now. My buddy Donnie Boy. Mm-hmm. He worked out with me, but he never hit bench press 500. Okay, I did 585 for 5. He never hit 450. Okay, he never did the heavy curls. He never did the heavy squats. So he don't have any knee problems now. He don't have, because he's still standing on his head right now at 72. Okay?
Amazing.
Yes, he is amazing. Okay? He went the other way. You know, as you get older, you're supposed to go back. You don't try to carry heavy weight. You get lighten the load. Okay? Sure. So he's taken his belt size to back that he had when he was in high school. All right? Yes. But I'm 282 pounds. Yeah. Okay? But I have big bones. My bones are huge. And they always talk about my big hands. I was in Ralph's Market yesterday after the workout, and the guy in the line, and I had on this long sleeve sweatshirt, and the guy in the line, he says, "You must have been a huge guy in your time. Look at your hands."
Well, that's something I noticed about you, actually, is on the cover of Josh Bryant's book, which I'll drop a link for it. And listeners, it helps out Mr. Monson, it helps out Mr. Bryant, and it helps me out if you use the link in the description to purchase the Craig Monson biography that Josh Bryant wrote. But on the cover here is a famous picture of you at Muscle Beach, I believe it is, and you are doing some skull crushers, some work on the back arms, as you would call them. But you've got, you've got 345s on each side. So you're using what some people would use as a bench press to do your tricep work, to do your back arm work.
I used to watch the guys, and I was a show off, you know. Sure. I'd watch the guys do a bench press with 3 plates, 315 we called it. Yeah. And they would hit it 4 or 5 reps and jump up off the bench and think they done something, right? Yeah. And I'd lay down on a bench and I'd say, "Willie, come over here." Willie was my workout partner also at Venice Beach, and he helped prepare me for shows. He would meet me at whatever gym I chose. Danny Boy, after my prison episode, he would only meet me at Venice Beach.
Oh, okay.
But Willie would hold me down. I would put it on the ground at the head of my head, reach back and pull it over, and start skull crushing it.
And there's a man in the picture holding your knees down, sure enough.
That's Willie. Yeah, that's Willie. And he would hold me down because the 315 would pull me over. I'd just flip over, you know? Okay. So I'd reach back and pull it up and skull crush it 12 times. That was my most. Okay? But there's video going around, and it's 8. You see me doing it 8 times. When I did it 12, there was no camera around. Okay?
Yeah. And, I noticed though that's you're using a easy curl bar, so it's probably about 1 inch thick. So that's where, to bring this full circle, what you were mentioning, I mean, after being awestruck with how much weight you're moving and with the rest of your body, because your pecs, your arms stand out, I did notice your hands because in comparison to the bar, I'm thinking, wow, like look how big his hands are. Like he's a big dude. Like you could tell even when you're laying down because of your hands. So I mean, that definitely it stands out.
I got my bench press strength. I was benching with Arnold Schwarzenegger out at Venice Beach on a Sunday morning, and he would. I made it a purpose to get out there early because Arnold would get out there 8, 9 in the morning. Okay, so I'd get out there really early. Just my team don't get there to 10:30, 11. But I wanted to catch Arnold because I wanted to work out with him. I wanted Big Arnold to see what I could do. Okay, and so I would be out there very early waiting on Arnold. He showed up a couple of times, and so I had the chance to train with him, and we were bench pressing, and I was using the normal grip. And Arnold slapped my hands out wider after we did a couple of sets, and he says, "Be quick," because he's Australian. "Be quick. You're too wide. You're hindering yourself. You will do a stronger bench if you go out here. And he slapped my hands out very wide. And so I had to start back light, okay? Because I couldn't go heavy out wide. But I started out light, and I ended up putting one collar all the way, collar to collar. You can't put your hands no wider because I'm on the plates. And I was able to do 585 pounds like that. 5 reps, as wide as the bar was.
Whoa.
You hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was because of Arnold Schwarzenegger giving me that advice. He made my bench press. I was doing 450 with him that day. My bench press shot up. It went sky high. Okay. I was shocked that he was absolutely right. So I give Arnold a lot of praises. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. He knew what he was talking about. He was a master of this. Okay. He was big. I know I was big, but Arnold, he had a lot of wisdom. Okay. A lot of wisdom. Yes, he did. Now, when you talk about me being on the stage and how big I was, one of my shows, I think that was the Mr. World, yes, in Geneva, Switzerland. When I weighed in at 272 pounds. Okay? The closest thing to me was 225.
That's a big difference.
That's a big, because at my time, you got to remember, in the 80s, people were not competing at that heavy weight like they're doing now. Okay.
Yeah. I was just going to mention that to listeners that this is well before like the nickname, the mass monsters of the 90s. This is well before those humongous guys came along that you're in the mix. So what kind of reaction are people having to someone who's, I'm doing quick math here, but about 20% bigger than the other competitors?
I think it was 5th. I was like, what? In the tall class. In the audience, it was 2,800 people in the audience. In Geneva, Switzerland. They didn't know me from the man in the moon, but they started chanting my name. Monson. They got up and rushed the stage. Okay?
Yeah.
They take their sports very serious in Europe. They rushed the stage. They were at the foot of the stage, looking right up at me. I stepped off the podium and I walked over to the edge of the stage, looked down at them and growled and did a most muscular from side to side, and then stepped back and started posing again. They made the judges come and give me the 1st place trophy. The 5th place trophy, judge's choice. I came home with both trophies and a box of Swiss candy because it was coming from Geneva, Switzerland.
Hey, you won over some fans there, that's for sure. I mean, I can imagine it was an awe-striking sight to see such a difference. Now, when it comes to both things you just spoke about, Venice Beach, so Muscle Beach as people call it, versus the bodybuilding competition, I find, Venice Beach to be fascinating because looking into your past and doing some research on you, you spoke about kind of the performance aspect of Muscle Beach that, for example, you might, wait a little bit for a particular lift until a certain number of rows of people were there, spectators were there to see that big lift. Can you talk a little bit about the differences there between that kind of thing versus the bodybuilding stage competitions?
Well, it's a sunny, hot day on a Sunday morning. The sun is blazing. Okay, like I said, my team would get there about 10:30, 11 o'clock. So we getting our warm-ups, we get going. We got about 6 people in the car, as we used to call it. That's the team, the workout team. Danny Trejo, the movie star, was one of the people in the team, in the car. And he's Latino, the Mexican guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I let him in the car.
I love him. The Machete movies.
Mexican in the pit. Okay, and he and I talk about it right now today. Okay, because I would always spot him. I always had his back, making sure nothing happened to that little guy, because he was the only Latins in there working out with all these big black dudes. Okay, anyhow, 10:30 in the morning, the tourists started really forming at the pit, walking up and down the boardwalk. As we start warming up, when it's time for me to put on 5 plates, I make sure the rows of people that are watching, okay, it might start at 8 rows. Before you know it, I got 12 rows of people all the way back to the building on the other side of the walk, okay, watching me hit that 500 pounds 10 times, 11 times, and counting out loud. And I'd hold a conversation with you while I'm pitting it, okay? Yes. I was a show off, right?
Yeah, sure.
Big Wes Crockett was the strongest man at Venice. Mm. He came out, at this particular time, I weighed 310 pounds.
Whoa.
He weighed 300, about 6 inches.
So there's a big difference.
Yes. Wait. He would lay down and hit 630 pounds, 2 reps. Okay. I lay down and hit 585, 5, and then he said, "Well, you can't hit 6." I just take off my shirt.
That's all you needed to do.
I take off my shirt and say, "Take that." Yeah. And he would give me the eye. He'd give me the evil eye. God bless him. May he rest in peace.
When it comes to Venice Beach, did you work out at Venice Beach both before the bodybuilding shows competitions and after? Because you're mentioning 310 pounds, and then you cut down to 270 and change, 273.
And when I prepared for the Mr. World, I was out there up until the last Sunday before I got on the plane.
Oh, wow.
A lot of my shows, okay, and like I said, the guy who's holding me down when I'm doing triceps, the guy who's on the cover of the book, that's Big Willie. I would let everybody know, well, I'm doing a show in Palm Springs. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the caravan, the whole squad, they would caravan down. They came to, I did a USA in Las Vegas. Okay, they caravan to Vegas. To watch me perform. They caravan to Palm Springs to watch me perform. When I did the USA in Vegas, I competed against Matt Mendenhall. Okay, and that was tough. All right, and after prejudging, I sat in the audience with Joe Weider. Okay, I was the man to beat. I was dressed in all white. I had on white shoes up to my chest. I was styling, okay?
Yeah.
And I sat next to Big Joe, and he gave me a lifetime membership at Gold's Gym, and I was the man to beat that day, okay? When I pumped up backstage, I pumped up with Matt Mendenhall. We did our push-ups. We got ready together backstage to walk out on the stage, right? And I was like, "Hey, Matt, what's wrong? You flat." Because his muscles wasn't responding. Okay. He didn't have any veins coming to life, you know?
Yeah,
I said, "Man, What's wrong with you? He said, Big Craig, I partied last night. What you mean, excuse my language? What do you mean you partied last night? The night before the show? Okay. He says, I did a little so-and-so and so-and-so. I'm not going to say who. And I'm like, so his body went flat. But he still won that show. Okay. And backstage, we're in the, do you remember the movie Pumping Iron and how Arnold hooked you backstage? Okay.
Sure.
He mind hooked me backstage. So backstage in Mr. USA in Las Vegas, me and Matt Mendenhall is in the mirror together, and we're posing, and he's saying, holy shit. He said, holy shit. I was huge. Okay?
Yeah.
And he was my friend. God bless him. May he rest in peace.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this before we go on. A lot of the guys that I competed against, they're gone.
Yeah, that's sad to hear.
Eduardo Kawak, I competed against him in Europe.
Okay.
He's gone. Okay?
Yeah.
I competed against Big Roy Liedermeyer. He's still here. Okay? We text each other periodically.
That's good.
Big Roy, he looks good. Okay, for his age. I got him by a couple of years.
That Austrian guy you talked about, Arnold, he's still around.
But Arnold had his problems. I did have my gallbladder removed.
Okay.
When I was 65, and it threw me for a loop.
Oh.
I was in the hospital 9 days on oxygen. Okay, I hallucinated for about 3 days. Didn't know where I was. My asthma came back on me, and they almost lost me.
Oh, wow.
Because of my breathing. I was on the big oxygen.
It was a close call.
Yes, they were able to do the surgery, and I came home on the 12th day. But in 12 days, I lost 47 pounds.
Goodness gracious. 47 pounds in 12 days.
47 pounds in 12 days. On the way home, I was in a Uber car, and my buddy, my road dog, he had to go into a CVS drugstore and bought me a walker.
Oh, wow.
For me to get into the house. When I got into the house, I parked that walker behind the office door, and it's been sitting there ever since. It cost $125 to walk into my house, and I ain't used it since.
And now it's just a souvenir, just sitting over there.
It's just a souvenir. I'm not ready for no walker.
Yeah.
No.
And you said you were 65 and you're 72 now, I think you said?
72 now, yes.
Yeah, so that wasn't too long ago. So you've made quite a comeback here from that. Now hitting the gym a couple hours, with this younger guy, training partner, and training him.
I go in Monday, Tuesday. I take Wednesday off. I go Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Okay? And I work out. Yesterday, I did 30 minutes on the bike first. I do my bike work first. And then I do another 30 minutes on my stomach work.
Yeah.
Okay? I have him doing 500 crunches on the floor. And I did 175 yesterday, crunches. And then we go to, if it's not a chest day, I have him doing push-ups. After the crunches, he do push-ups, okay? Push-ups along with the chin-ups behind the neck, okay? And then we go over to the stomach machine. We do crunches on the stomach machine and the side twists with the stomach machine. We do all of that. This is about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes before we even touch any weights.
Oh, man.
Okay? Yes. And, the trainers in the gym, they're training their clients for 1 hour.
Sure.
I'm in the gym an hour and something, and I ain't even touched no weights yet.
I haven't gotten started yet. So, listeners, if you're feeling like you're not motivated to train, you're drinking your coffee in the morning and thinking, I might just skip it today. I'm not going to go down to the gym. Just re-listen to this episode. Listen to all the things that, Big Craig is out there doing. So, and you're in California, correct, sir?
I'm in California, yes, sir.
So when it comes to your training and your style of lifting, something that I found fascinating reading about you and researching you was just the difference between, and Josh Bryant pointed this out, the difference between the culture at Venice Beach and then the other culture of Los Angeles, meaning the street gangs and some of the things you were involved in. You were one of the founders of the Avenue, I believe it was.
I was not one of, I was the founder.
You were the founder. There
I
you
was
go.
the
So
founder of the Avenue,
apologies.
yes.
So yeah, you were the founder of the Avenues, and with both those sides of things, this very, tourists around right out there in the open, Muscle Beach versus lifting and bodybuilding and, working out in the other side of things in terms of being involved in the gang. Were there similarities to either in the way that you trained or the culture of things and what people respected, what people, saw in each other?
It was Black and Hispanic back then.
Okay.
South Central LA, we had the police department very down on the Black people. There were a lot of street gangs. The Avenues, we were a bunch of neighborhood guys. If you worked out, you kept the cheat off you. Back then, if you were a pretty good sized guy, you wasn't likely for nobody to get in your face and challenge you. Okay? So I had everybody in my neighborhood, if they wanted to come in my backyard and work out with me or go over to Donnie Boy's, you were welcome. All right? And we used to get in our little lowrider cars. At one time, I had a 53 Chevy. Then I had a 56 Chevy. Okay, and Donnie Boy had a 37 Chevy. That was the old gangster car. Okay, so we would go to parties, neighborhood parties. We were a bunch of neighborhood boys. I would not. If you had a gun, you couldn't go with us to a party. Okay, and I would not get in a car. You got a gun? No, and you stand for a search, and I would pat the guys down, pat them down before they got in the car, because I'm not getting in the car with you if you got a gun. Okay, if you got a gun, you're gonna hurt somebody. You're going to kill somebody. If we just got a street fight, you're gonna beat them up. You're gonna win the fight, but ain't nobody gonna die. Okay,
gotcha.
And I used to tell them, I got 21-inch guns hanging on my side, on my shoulder. I don't need a gun. Yes, I went to prison, but I killed a burglar in my mother's house.
Yeah.
I got an involuntary manslaughter for killing the burglar. He broke into the house with a hammer. He hit me upside the head, but I took it from him. May he rest in peace. I killed him.
Yeah.
They gave me an involuntary manslaughter. Okay, I had never ever worked out with cables till 1975. When I came home from prison, I joined my first gym. That was Bill Pearl's gym, and they had cables. They had all this equipment, old school equipment.
Yeah, and
I worked out with that. And I got 21, 22-inch arms from backyard lifting.
Yeah.
Okay. Backyard.
So you hadn't even been to a gym until after you came out of prison. It was. It was just a pig iron in the backyard.
That's right.
Like CT would talk about.
I remember I would do my shoulders. I had a pigeon coop. I raised pigeons in the backyard.
Okay.
And I put blankets over the top of the pigeon cage over on one corner. And I would lean up put my upper shoulders up against the pigeon cage, lean back with the bar on my chest and do standing military press.
On the pigeon coop. I love that.
Leaning back off the pigeon coop.
Yeah.
And that got my upper shoulders and caps. So they used to tell me, Craig, look like you got 3 heads. My shoulders were so big. Okay? Yeah. It was from doing those leaning back military press.
My pap, my grandfather, that's what I called him, my pap. My pap raised pigeons.
Yes.
Here in Pittsburgh. It was like his hobby.
And they would roll down. They had tumblers.
So, yeah.
They would roll down. Someone would roll down to the ground. They would kill themselves. You had to clap your hands and make them quit to come out of the spin. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, God. But in that backyard training, I had a brother, they nicknamed him Psycho Rut.
Oh, wow.
He stood 6'5". I used to carry him around to the garage when I went over to the garage to work out. When I worked out in Johnny Boy's front yard, he would go with me. I'd hold his hand. I got my baby brother with me. Hey, you sit over there, and I give him the smallest dumbbell they had. You play with that.
Yeah.
Well, after we built that preacher curl bench, you'll see it in some of the pictures and videos. It's still in my mom's backyard. Whenever I would go visit my mom, he would be sitting at that preacher curl bench doing preacher curls. His arms got up to 22 inches. He's 6'5", 22-inch arms, no legs at all, but a huge chest. All he did was chest, arms, and back in that backyard. He looked like a professional bodybuilder with no legs, and he had never been into a gym. Okay?
Yeah.
Just from working out in the backyard. Oh, yeah.
Sure. So it got the job done. Yeah.
Yes. If you got the motivation, okay, you can do it.
Sure. And that's, I mean, this is a very home gym focused kind of podcast. And that's, I mean, things are much more advanced in some of these people's home gyms and things. I'm blessed to have some great equipment in my home gym. But when it comes down to it, yeah, it doesn't have to be fancy. Like when you were in prison, this is before the government took weights out of prison. So there was a weight room, but if I remember correctly, there was only like limited time you could go there. So there was a lot of body weight type of workouts.
Okay. You had 1 hour for lunch. Okay. I was in San Quentin at one time. I started off in a place called Tracy dual vocational, because when I went I turned 21 in the county jail fighting the case. Okay. And so when I hit the yard, I had just turned 21. I was in Tracy only 3 months before they sent me to San Quentin. All right. I got a bus ride because I helped a little Latino brother out of some mess in Tracy. So they gave me and my whole workout team a bus ride to San Quentin. We were the biggest boys in Tracy. But mind you, I walked into the prison, the biggest man in the prison.
Yeah.
So I walked in. I knew I wasn't going to stay there. Yeah. Okay. So they sent me to San Quentin where all the old people were, and it was much cooler because Tracy was like a gladiator school.
Oh, wow.
But when I got to Quentin, they had all these old-time guys and these real killers, okay? And this is when I realized, damn, some of these people belong here, okay?
I can only imagine, yeah.
Yeah, they belong here. You meet some real wackos, okay? Okay, you only had 1 hour for lunch. So that means from work, you're in the chow hall, you got to rush to the chow hall, get your food, you got to wolf the food down and run to the weight pile to get your workout in. By the time you get down there, 30 minutes have passed already.
Sure.
Okay? So you only got 3 people in the car. Maybe 4 or 5 want to get in. No, we ain't got enough time, only 3. So if you've been pressing, you back to back. You could get some flat backs in and inclines in, maybe some dumbbell flies in that 30 minutes, maybe. And on other day, now you remember they always say you can't work the same muscles every day. Well, if you ain't got but 30 minutes, and you start doing curls today, you didn't do no good back arms. So tomorrow when you come, you're going to hit them back arms again.
Yeah.
And you're going to hit the new curl, okay? You might even hit chest twice today and tomorrow, and hit arms today, tomorrow. Yes, you might hit them all week long, every day.
Gotcha.
So it's not like hitting the arm for 2 hours and then no, you don't want to revisit them for 3 days, okay? But when you don't only have 30 minutes, yes, you could hit them every day, okay? Because you're not really overtraining them, all right? And that's with any muscle as far as I'm concerned,
yeah,
all right?
Yeah.
And yes, in San Quentin, there was nothing but free weights. Yeah, Arnold put that petition when he was the governor to take the weights out of the prisons here in California. Yeah. I don't know about the rest of America, but I know in California they took them out. He said something about the arrested as criminals, crackheads, dope heads or what. They go in and they treat it like a resort, and they come home all buffed up. Well, yeah. Okay. But now listen, when I was in San Quentin, I went to board, and the board gave me a 90-day date to come home. That's 3 months.
Okay.
They gave me a 90-day date. So they said, well, Big Craig, you've been behind the wall for 4.5 years. We're going to send you to a camp center where you sleep in a dormitory and you could be outside all day. Okay, San Quentin was down at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I was like, thank you, Jesus. Sending me out to go to this camp center. They went to handcuff me to put me on the bus, and my wrist was too big. So those things that they put around the leg, those leg irons,
sure,
you see in old movies, they put those things around my arms, my hands.
Oh my goodness!
And they put me in the cage, and they said, "Big boy, we don't want no trouble out of you." And I said, "Man, I'm going to the camp center. I'm going home in 90 days. I'm not going to do nothing wrong, right? Yeah. I got a date. I'm going home."
Yeah, you're counting down.
They sent me to the camp. Yeah, I go to this camp center. It's called Jamestown.
Okay.
I go to this camp center. When I get off the bus, it's like a college dormitory. It's wide open. It's like 3 football fields. Everything is built around the football field. Okay, all this grass. I'm like, oh, I love it. And there's a weight towel right in front of one dormitory. All the weights are right there on the yard, and the guys are training. So I'm looking for my dormitory, and it's right up. It's on the second level. Everything's open. You walk into the building, and when you walk outside, you're outside. You know, everything wide open. I go in, I make up my bunk, and I come back outside. I want to go train, okay? And I also want to establish myself. There was officers in front of this wing where I just made up my bed, in front of the dormitory that I was going to be staying in. It was called J-Wing. And when I came down to the weight pile, the brothers were bench pressing. And it was pig iron. When you bench pressing, you know, the iron is rattling.
Yeah.
I asked the brother, I said, can I go next? They say, yeah, big man, yeah. And I got my shirt buttoned up all the way to the top up under my chin. I stand behind the weights. As, for instance, you're going to spot somebody. Okay. You're standing behind the bench, and I lean over to tighten the weights up. Okay? And I tighten the weights up. I slam them. Okay? Then I put my hands in the middle, and like I'm going to adjust the bar. And it was 5 quarters on each side. And I started curling it. I started curling this stuff. And they said, man, where you come from?
Yeah.
I just got off the bus.
They hadn't seen anything like you.
No, but wait. The officers, the correctional officers are standing up on the second level. They say, hey, big man, convict. I look up, I say, yes, sir. What's your name? I said, Monson, Craig Monson. When you get here, I said, just now. I just got off the bus. Where you stay? I said, right behind you. A J bunk so-and-so, so-and-so. They said, okay. They came and kicked the foot of my bed that night at 3 o'clock in the morning. They said, man, you can't stay here. They put me in the hole and sent me back to San Quentin.
Oh.
And when I get back, the memo said I was too big. They didn't want me there.
Oh, goodness. So
they had a private joke. The guards had a private running joke at San Quentin. He was too big for the prison.
Oh, jeez. They just felt threatened, like they couldn't contain you?
That's right, because they just came from it. They just on each corner of the prison for escape. Okay? But they sent me back to Quentin, and I was coming through the chow hall line one day, and the officer said, give him another scoop. That man was too big for Jamestown. He's San Quentin grown. True story, yes.
So you got a little more chow out of it, at least. But yeah, that's still, I can't imagine how heartbreaking that was, though, going having to go back.
Going over there, and they put me in the hole. I had to stay in the hole for 7 days, waiting for the bus to come back.
Oh, goodness.
Okay. And then I went back. When I go back to San Quentin, they put me in the hole there, and I had to wait there to go to committee. And when I go to the committee, they said, "Man, you just left here. What did you do?
Yeah.
You've been here 4.5 years, and you didn't get no trouble. What you do down there?" I didn't do nothing. They just didn't want me there. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but no, I was still able to come home on my date. Yes. But I'm saying that to say how big I had got.
Yeah.
I got 22-inch arms. I was strong as a bull, big as a house, and I was just eating second quality food. You know, state rate, they don't feed you.
Yeah, you weren't.
Food.
Yeah.
No. There was no 12 raw eggs.
Tuna, fruit, you know.
No, I ate whatever the state gave me, and then with my your cigarettes was your money back then. So I could give 2 packs of cigarettes for a steak sandwich, you know, stuff like that. Bring you half a cantaloupe, a pack of cigarettes for a cantaloupe, stuff like that. I always had extra food because I was always buying stuff to eat.
Yeah.
But people said when I came home, "Oh, he was on steroids." In San Quentin?
Yeah. Well, that's, you know, it's an interesting thing as far as your experiences and seeing the kind of connections between like the discipline you had to have, that you only had that amount of time to get down there, get your lifts in, or with the food, for example, like you said, like you had to prioritize just to kind of get what you needed, get what you could. So you come out of prison and you said you started going to a gym regularly. By the time you were competing in bodybuilding, you know, there was a little bit of distance there, especially until you got into like 1980s. But did people know your background? Did other competitors know your background in terms of?
Oh, yes. I was called the flamboyant bodybuilder. I couldn't take bodybuilding far because of my I couldn't take bodybuilding far because of my shady background. Okay?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like, do you feel like it held you back?
Yes. Walter Jacobs, he's a sports doctor.
Okay.
And I met him at Venice Beach. Okay. And he was a judge at the Mr. America 1985, 1984 in Pasadena, California. And he was a judge, and he was also my sports doctor. And he came, I was in the quad getting sun at this contest, and he's after prejudging, and he came out, he said, "Big Craig, you're not going to win this." I said, "What do you mean? Who's going to beat me?" He says, "The judge is not going to give it to you." I'm like, "What?" He said, I know you're the biggest cut. You're fantastic, but they're not going to give it to you. But I want you to go out there and just give them a good show." And so I did. Yeah, they gave me second place.
Yeah.
But that day after the show, I was sitting in the lobby with the second place trophy.
Yeah.
The guy he was across the lobby. Everybody, all the spectators were on my side talking to me. Nobody was over. He was sitting by himself, him and his girlfriend, and the first place trophy. And an old man came up to me, stood in front of me, and put both hands on my shoulder while I was sitting there with the second place trophy. I'm sitting on a bench in the lobby, and he put both hands on my shoulder, and he says, "Tonight was a farce. This was a farce. You could have won Mr. Olympia. This gave bodybuilding a bad name." He says, "You're Mr. Olympia in my book." And he walked away. And I said, "Who is that old man?" And somebody said, "Big Craig, you don't know who that was?" I said, "No." He said, "That's John Grimfield."
Oh, I've been smiling for the last 30, 40 seconds because I knew where this story was going. I know you can't see me, but I've been smiling because I love John Grimmick. I love the story of him. I had the opportunity recently. I was in York, PA. I went out to see the museum. And a real nice gentleman there took my friend and I on a tour, showed us around, and then took us upstairs and kind of took us behind the scenes at the museum at York Barbell, and he opened this door and he said, well, this is everything from the John Grimmick estate that they donated. We haven't cataloged it yet.
My God, yes, yes.
And I thought, goodness gracious. I mean, we couldn't believe it. We only spent maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes in that room, but just everything I picked up was fascinating. I mean, it was so interesting just to kind of see his library of books and magazines that he had and some different articles he wrote and different things that his family donated to the museum that they haven't cataloged or put up yet. So yeah, I'm a big John Grimmick fan, and I love that story. So Grimmick knew. I mean, he's no stranger to competing. He was in the business as practically his whole life, but he could see the truth behind things.
But see, for him saying that to me, I'm not knowing who he is. It's just a little old man coming up telling me, and it made me feel good. But now, the guy who won this show, now remember I told you I used it on those tactics about hooking the guy backstage and prejudging, right?
Sure.
This kid, now I was 34 years old at this show. He was 21. I've had my muscles way longer than him. Okay?
Yeah.
But backstage we're pumping up, and I'm looking around in the mirror, looking around the pump-up room. Who's my competition? And I see him in the mirror, so I go stand beside him, and he's doing a double bicep, and I do a double bicep. He threw his arm down, and he do a side chest. I threw a side chest, and he was like, "Good Lord, look at you." I booked him backstage, and so when it's time for the pose down on stage, I was in the middle, and they had me standing in the middle of the top 5, and he's standing over on the wings on the corner. Well, when they said let the music play, let him go at it or whatever, right? I walk over to him. And start let the audience compare us. Okay, let the audience. I started posing down with him. He walked away from me.
He didn't want that.
And at that show, in the show in Europe, the people rushed the stage, Monson. And in Pasadena, they booed. When they gave me second, they booed.
Okay.
And
I thought you meant they booed you. No, they booed that they gave you second. I get it.
Yeah. They booed. Hey, what's going on? What's really going on? If you ever have a chance to hear the tape, hey, what's really going on? What is going on here? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Because they knew I was the clear winner. Yes.
And I mean I assume that impacted things like being able to get into magazines, being able to get any kind of sponsorships and stuff like that. The money side of it, I assume it impacted greatly.
Yeah, it really put my spirit. But they say you get knocked down, you go back. You get knocked down. Sure. Some people were saying, "Big Craig, don't stop. Don't let it get you down." But my partner, my workout partner, the guy who was holding me down on the book cover,
Big Willie.
Big Willie, he was taking me to the Palm Springs, Palm Springs or Vegas, one of them, and we were riding his brand new Baritz Cadillac, red Cadillac. Oh, beautiful. And on the way back, he was like, "Man, aren't you tired of them mistreating you like this?" Because they had gave me second, third, or fourth when I was clearly the winner. I was clearly the people's choice. Okay, I was the crowd pleaser, and people standing on their feet cheering and stomping after the performance. He said, "Aren't you tired of them whooping you like this?" And he did that a couple of times, and it finally got to me. All right, that and things that I was going through in my life. So I said, "To heck with it. I'm through with competition."
Yeah.
All right. You go to these shows and when I did a show, and Sergio Olivia, my idol, he was guest posing in the show.
Okay.
When I saw the poster in the gym that Sergio was going to be guest posing, I said, "Well, I'm going to compete in that show." Okay?
Yeah.
I had no plans to compete, but when I saw that my idol was guest posing, I wanted to be on stage with my idol.
Yeah.
Okay? And so I prepared and I got ready, and backstage I had a chance to pump up with Sergio Olivia.
Oh.
Okay. Now I had met him before, but this time, okay, he was like glad to see me, and he was glad to see Willie. Hey, there's Willie. Willie was standing in the wings when Sergio came up. We was out in the corridor, and Billy was proud. Hey, he remembered me. He was, Anyhow, I had on a long robe that drug the ground with a hood, like a Grim Reaper robe.
Oh, wow.
It was burgundy of terry cloth, real thick robe.
Okay.
And so Sergio and I pumped up together. He's pumping up because he's guest posing.
Yeah.
I'm pumping up because I'm competing. And he said, all right, big man, all right. He's Cuban, so he spoke kind of funny. All right, big man, all right, big man. Let me see what you look like. And now, this is Sergio's words, okay? And I took off the robe, and I'm all sweaty because I've been pumping up. He said, oh, good Lord, you're going to kill the white boys tonight. He said it just like that.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, hearing your idol have that reaction, that had to have been an amazing experience.
Man. Oh, yes. Yes, it was. It was terrific. And I did win that show. I came home with all the trophies.
Nice.
And I was bigger than Sergio.
Oh.
Okay, but Sergio told me he had. People don't know this, okay? Sergio said he had pneumonia, and he had lost 30 pounds. He just came to that show to get his money.
Yeah.
I think he said $3,000 for his guest posing.
Yeah.
He just came to get his money. He didn't expect to see nobody like Craig Monson.
Yeah. It was just a work night for him.
That's right. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's some of the stuff with your competing and kind of your past holding back some of the competitions and things are getting away of it because judges are holding it against you. It draws a connection to what we spoke of at the top of the show with Leroy Culver and, Frank Zing winning over him. And even though he had like best arms, best legs, best back, he won all the trophies, but somehow didn't win the top place. I can't help but imagine that there were people in the audience there wondering like, why didn't Leroy win? And there's probably people in the audience, well, not wondering why, but suspecting why he didn't win and suspecting some racial motivations there. And then people wondering with you, like, what? How did Big Craig not win? How did he get second place? So, I can't imagine how frustrating that must have been. So then how do you get back to the gym, or did you just never leave? So, I mean, I know you struggled with drug addiction, and I've heard you speak on other podcasts about that and getting clean and, nightlife, things like that, kind of clouded things for a while. But then afterwards, what brings you back into the gym?
Okay. I was out of the gym for like 6 years, but I would pass Hollywood Gym every day, twice a day, going to work, coming back from work. I worked up in the valley, and I had to always pass this gym, okay? And the gym was calling my name, okay? It was calling me. And I'm looking, it's a 3-level place. Three-level building. On the ground floor, there's windows wrapping around. You can see all the weights inside. And when I'm coming home in the evening, it's lit up. It's dark. It's lit up. And there's people training. And I said, I'm going to have to stop there one day. Just go in and look at take a look through. And I had been off of I had partied. We'll say a year, 2 years before this with the drugs, doing cocaine at the Hollywood Life, in the back of the limousine, sniffing cocaine and running the girls. It was fun. I was out there having the disco thing, walking into the club and everybody knowing my name. Hey, everybody wanting me to be in the car with them, sit at their table,
But then eventually that kind of catches up to you.
It catches up to you, and people started dying.
Yeah.
Okay? people started dying, and then they started really getting drug wiped out. And I'm like, this ain't for me, no.
Yeah.
And I went up to a place called Acton.
Okay.
A drug rehab. $4,447 it cost me for 4 months. Okay. But I never looked back. When I came home, I never looked back. No. And I joined that gym. I joined that gym in '96, and I've been there ever since.
Wow.
Okay. That same gym. The owner is owned by a Russian family.
So we're talking 25 plus years now. Yeah.
Yes. And
That's wonderful.
Yes. And the owner, Emily, she's an old lady.
Mm-hmm.
Her son, it was his baby. He moved to Las Vegas and let mom take over. And she's been running it ever since. Another story, I started that job that I was working at when I was passing every day, it folded. And then I'm in the gym all the time. And this bodybuilder, one day he told me, because I kept working out with this big sweatshirt on. And he says, man, we were in the locker room. He says, man, you remind me of this old bodybuilder. And I'm like, really? And I said, what's his name? He said, Craig Monson. And I started laughing. I said, who do you think I am? He said, that's you? I said, yeah. He says, are you working? I said, no, I'm out of work right now. He said, well, I'm the head bouncer at this nightclub called Dublin's on the Sunset Strip. You want a job? I said, well, I ain't never bounced. I don't know nothing about that work. He said, man, it's nothing. All you got to do is sit there, stand there, what? He said, come on. I'll take you over there now. I'll treat you to a steak dinner because it's a restaurant / nightclub. So I went over there and we pigged out on ribeye steaks.
Yeah.
And I started work with him. He said, let's start working out together. I said, well, I'm just getting back into it, but yeah. And he was one of those guys struggling with 3 plates on the bench press. He'd do it 8 times and he'd jump up and he thought he was really doing something.
Yeah.
Okay. And I was just about 48, 49, something like that, I think. Maybe, no, I was older. No. This is 96, so I was older, 56. I said, okay, we started working out together. Then I started getting my strength back. I started getting up. Mm-hmm. And on the weekend, there were 16 security guards on the job. He said, Big Craig, I'm going to have a memo where the whole security squad got to come watch you bench press. He said, they're not going to believe their eyes. Yeah. I said, well, you tell them to bring their phones, their cameras, so they could video it, so they don't have to be telling people because people ain't going to believe it.
Yeah.
He said, okay. So once Friday, before work, everybody showed up. And it was 19 of us, 16, okay, but 19 altogether. They all circled around the bench. I'm going to bench press. Okay, Emily come out. She's the owner of the gym. Craig, what's going on?
Yeah.
I said, they just want to watch me bench press. They're going to leave after. She said, okay, no working out. I said, no, they're just going to watch me do. Okay. So we put on 3 plates on each side, Olympic weights. I said, Pete, in this gym, I can't put my hands wide as I like to go, so you have to take the weight out the rack and hand it to me. So we had 2 guys on each side, hand it to me, and I'm talking to them while I do it. I bench pressed at 4 sets of 50 reps.
Oh, man.
While I talk to them. You guys got your cameras on, and I'm talking to them while I'm doing it. I did 200 reps, 50 reps.
Wow.
4 sets. There's only one guy right now that I still talk to. His name is Leonard Wade, and he worked with me. And he said, "I was there. I said,
yeah. He witnessed it.
Only one. Yes, one guy still. Okay, but they walked out of there not believing that, and I had so much respect after that. Okay, because these guys, security guys, bouncers, they're always big guys,
Yeah.
big poorly guys, and they could bench that maybe 3 or 4 times. But to see somebody do it 50 times, they're like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay? Unbelievable, unheard of. But I did it, and they videoed it. Somebody got it on footage. Okay?
Yeah. It's out there.
Yes.
Well, it had to be a little bit of that, Venice Beach feeling too. You had the crowd with you, it's
The crowd, and remember, I was always a ham.
exactly.
Okay?
You got the crowd with you. The eyes are on you, it's
right.
go time.
And they said to me, Craig, why don't you get up on the 600? I said, I always wanted to look easy.
Okay.
I never want the crowd to see me strain. Okay? So 600, I'd have probably had to struggle, but I said, I'm not going to struggle. I want to do it and hold it and be able to talk to you while I'm doing it. I want it to look easy, like I'm sitting in my living room. Okay? Yes.
I love it.
I was a big ham. I was a big ham about it. But I started at 13 years old.
Yeah.
Rome wasn't built in a day. I built a heck of a foundation. I built a foundation that would last. And
yes, sir.
Certainly said to me, maximum poundage build mass that will last. That's Sergio's words to me. Okay?
Yeah.
You have to build a good foundation, Big Craig. Build your foundation. Maximum poundage. And he beat that into me. But nobody told me what the maximum poundage would do to you later at 70 years old.
Yeah, exactly. It'll come back around.
Oh, it'll come back and haunt you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my knees are bad and tailbone arthritis in my knees, arthritis in my tailbone. But my elbows, I had never had bursitis in my elbows. No. I'm doing heavy tricep. No. My shoulder, I did mess up my shoulder, doing behind the neck rotator, that rotator cuff, doing heavy behind the neck press.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I teach guys, don't sit it on your shoulder. See, back in my day, when you do behind the neck press, we always sit the weight on your shoulder and push up, always down. No, now I tell them, only go to your earlobe. Go to the top of your ear or to the middle of your earlobe. Don't go all the way down. Don't go all the way back. No. There's certain things that you have to be aware of.
Yeah, that you pick up over the years. Yeah.
That's right.
And you can pass that on. I mean, I'll tell you what, it's just hearing your stories, it's amazing, Mr. Monson. I appreciate you coming on here tonight because this is the kind of history I want to really explore and hear the kind of behind the scenes at Muscle Beach and the kind of experiences that you've had in your competition days. So I can't thank you enough.
Muscle Beach. The first time I went was 1966.
Okay.
I was 16. They would not take our money. Okay, Donnie Boy.
Yeah.
Muscle Beach was kind of racist back then.
Yeah, they didn't want you on, even if you had the money.
We jump over the fence, and they come put us out. As soon as they went back in the office, we jumped back up. We were 16 years old.
Yeah.
We were going to work out in that pit. So finally they said, okay. And they took out $8, whatever it was.
Yeah.
They took the money. And we had the whole year to train there. It was like, we couldn't wait till Sunday to roll around to go up there to work out,
And was it just the spectacle of it, all the people around? What drew you to it?
Okay, remember backyard working out.
Yeah.
And Donnie Boy had something called dramatic fever in 64.
Okay.
And when he got out the hospital, he was in the hospital for about a month. And when he came home, he was so skinny, he looked like he was from Somalia somewhere. So skinny. And so we couldn't go to the house. I had to stand in the alley to talk to him between the chain link fence while he stayed in his bedroom talking to me through the window.
Yeah.
And I said, Donnie, you're too skinny.
Yeah.
Okay, 14 years old. I put weights into a red wagon. You remember the little red wagon?
Sure. There's I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Fire chief, I think it was called. I put some weights in that wagon, and I lived on 83rd and Hooper. He lived on 85th and Hooper. And I pulled the weights in that red wagon through the alleys to Donnie Boy's and set it up in his backyard, up under the fig trees. I mean, the avocado trees and fig trees. He had a fig tree and 2 avocado trees. And I set it up back there and built him a little bench. And I said, Donnie, you come back here every day and you do something. I started him working out. You start working out. And he started working out. And when he was able to come back to school, junior high school, he was a little better, okay?
Yeah.
He was standing a little bit taller. He's taller than I am, but he was standing straight up. Because when I saw him in the window, he was getting old from being sick, okay? So to right now today, if I call him, we can laugh and talk about this. Yeah, Mons, you gave me my first workout. Yeah, Mons, you know. Yeah,
he knows.
But I started a whole bunch of guys working out from kids. And I get a lot of respect from those that are still alive, because a lot of them are gone. Up and down my old neighborhood, you could go up and down, and they're all gone, you know?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, they just did. And so I've been blessed that I'm still here, all right?
Well, I think it's great that you're telling their stories, you know, especially the ones that are gone, and telling the stories of, you know, the way things were. So, yeah.
And it's been a glorious, I love training. For all those youngsters out there that want to train and want some muscles, you guys build your foundation. Build your foundation, work out, enjoy the journey. It's all about having fun. Get big. Take records. Take pictures of yourself. Later on, when you look back on those pictures, you'll be like, oh, look where I started. That is your record. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
That makes sense.
And look, I didn't have any protein powders till I was 25 years old. Okay? I never had we had something called wheat germ. We sprinkle over our oatmeal and our cereal. Okay? That was our protein. My first protein powder in 1975, I was 25 years old, and it was called MLO. It was full of sugar byproducts. That stuff had my shoulders and back all broke out.
Yeah.
I threw it right in the trash can, okay? So, but and then when it was contest time, I wanted to cut up. So they told me about, and I bought it at Ralph's supermarket. It was in the dairy section, in the cooler.
Okay.
Drink a couple of tablespoons of that after meal, and it would cut you up. They eventually had to take it out the market because it was eating the lining out of people's stomach.
Oh, no.
Okay? Yeah, that stuff was getting my stomach ripped up. Yes.
Yeah.
So, but no, I really never was a protein person.
Yeah.
Okay? My protein was that red meat.
Yeah.
I'd eat that red meat 3 times a week. Contest time, I'd eat a whole chicken, half a chicken in the morning, the other half in the evening. I'd eat the whole chicken, but with no skin.
Yeah.
Okay? I would always eat fish. There's a place called Shabazz, a Muslim fish house.
Okay.
I would always get fish all the time, okay? Fish and salad. I would take a big Tupperware dish, and cut up all kind of fruit, every kind of fruit you could think of, and put it in this Tupperware dish. And I would eat off of that after each meal. I would just eat watermelon, pears, strawberries, what? I would eat off of that. And my salad. It kept me regulated, okay?
Yeah.
And my veins rolling. My veins would just be, I look like oak trees with all these veins. But like I said, I was eating red meat 3 times a week. Yes, that was my protein. And I was eating a ton of eggs. My first McDonald's, I was 25, 26 years old. Okay? I didn't go to Disneyland till I was 25.
Yeah.
And I lived right there, you know? No, but I was all about working out.
Yeah.
I had a 69 Coupe de Ville Cadillac. And I bought 2 non-adjustable 55-pound dumbbells. I had them in a milk crate in the back of my Cadillac. And I go to a club, and before I go in the club, I'm in the parking lot doing some curls with my dumbbells.
Just to get a pump. Yeah.
Just to get a pump. Yes.
Yeah.
I had to get a pump wherever I went. Okay.
Yes. I can only imagine what I think if I was.
Oh, God. On Sunday morning, I'd go up to Griffith Park, and I'd have somebody steer the car, and I'd push that Cadillac around the parking lot. Okay. People would stop. Hey, you need a hand? I said, I'm exercising.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey.
I did all kind of crazy stuff just to stay in shape.
Consistency, like you said.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think it's it makes you appreciate what you have, the consistency of training, and it keeps you just feeling good. And yeah, I believe it. I hear you. And I mean, I was at a baseball tournament. My oldest son plays baseball, and I was at his baseball game. And a couple days prior, Josh Bryant was on my podcast here. And after I stopped recording, we were chatting. He said, you should really ask Craig to come on the show. I said, do you think you would? And he said, well, yeah, just give me your phone number. I'll reach out to him. So I said, oh, that'd be amazing. So then a couple days go by, and I wasn't expecting much, and my phone rings at the baseball game, and I didn't know the number. I pick it up, and it was you, and I couldn't believe it. And my wife was like, who's on the phone? She thought I hit the lottery or something, and I did, because I was so happy to be talking to you. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I'm on the phone with Craig Monson. And I got off the phone. She said, who in the world are you talking to? And she had seen me reading your book, so as soon as I said your name, she's like, oh my gosh, that bodybuilder? I'm like, yeah, he's going to come on the show. So, I mean, I've been excited.
Yeah. Didn't Josh do a great job on that little book?
He did. And I mean, like I said about, I don't know, a ways ago in the show, it's the thing I really like about it is, and I wrote an article that I put up on my website about Josh Bryant's books, and this being one of my favorites. And the thing I really like about it that I wrote in that article was the back and forth between, it's telling your life story, but then it has a bit of the training in there. So, you know, you're learning kind of some interesting strength history, but then you're also picking up some training tips and programs and different things. I mean, I just randomly flipped here to a page, and it's talking about different sets and reps, and you know, this exercise, or you did this with walking lunges or hack squats. And yeah, it's so the back and forth of it, the style that you wrote it in, I find very unique. And I mean, it's two things I enjoy, training and history. So it was a home run for me.
Very good. Very good. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. So it's in print and it's available, and I'll drop the link down in the description of the podcast. And listeners, like I said, what you heard here tonight was just a small part of what's in this book, and you'll really enjoy reading it, and you'll get a lot out of the training too. And I'll drop some of the pictures in this episode, but there's a lot more pictures in here too that are also excellent. Some of the people you spoke of on this episode, you'll see Donnie Boy's right here, actually. So you talked a lot about Donnie Boy, and he's right here on the page I happen to flip open to. So yeah, head out there. The title of it is Craig Monson, OG Bodybuilding Legend. It's been out for a couple years now, but it's still in print, and you can pick up a copy. The other thing you can do, listeners, is Craig, you still have T-shirts for sale and things like that on your website, correct?
You get them on the website.
On the website.
Yeah, get them off the website, yes.
And I'll drop a link for that in the description as well. Is it CraigMonson.com? What's the website?
Oh, gosh.
And if you don't know offhand, don't worry, sir. It's all right. I can drop it in here.
Just Google Craig Monson, and they'll see it.
It'll pop up. Yeah. Well, you can't miss the shirts, because there's some of your famous poses, some of your famous shots right there on the shirts.
Yes, sir. Oh, yeah.
You can't miss it.
And to your viewers, after they reach out, they could text me on my website or on Facebook. If they want to talk to me one-on-one, I'm available to talk to. I love talking to fans, okay?
That's incredible.
Yes, yes. If I could be any help for the young guys starting out, or even the old-timers who want to chat about the old days,
yeah,
I'm available. Okay? Just hit me up on Facebook or Instagram. I always try to answer. Okay?
That's incredible. Well, I mean, it's been a thrill to talk to you, Mr. Munson. And I really, I can't thank you enough. So thank you so much for coming on.
I enjoyed rapping with you. Yes. I enjoyed reliving my past.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about it because it is my past.
Yeah.
Okay? It is history.
I think you're an important part of strength history. Yeah.
Once I'm gone, I'm gone. So yeah. I have to keep it alive as long as I can. All right. It's been a heck of a journey. Okay. I remember when I was a kid and my mom asked me, I told her I wanted to be the biggest bodybuilder in the world. Okay. Yeah. And that was because I was going to junior high school, and the boys periodically, the vice principal, they would go through all the lockers, and when they came to my locker, they found a stack full of bodybuilding books at the bottom of my locker, and on the door of the locker, I had Viking gladiator soldiers drawings that I drew.
Sure.
Pasted to my locker, and so they called my parents in to say this was unusual behavior.
Yeah.
Something is wrong with him. My mom said, well, he's always talking about he want to be a big man. He want to be the biggest bodybuilder. Well, in 1963, 4, and 5, that was looked down upon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It was a different time and era, yeah.
It was a different time. You didn't see people jogging like you do now.
Yeah.
They were not gyms on every other street corner. So my mom, when I got home, my mom said, to heck with those people. You keep working out. You keep doing what you want to do. Okay? She did not listen to them. Okay? No. They wanted me to stop. They said, every time we look around, he's in the gym. Okay? He's in the gym playing with those weights. Because I would sneak in every day. Every time I had a chance, I would sneak in.
Yeah. Well, they know where to find you.
They knew where to find me. That's right. That's right. No, all my life until today, I'm still in the gym. Yes, I'm a gym rat.
That's the goal. That's one of my goals. I want to be able to pick up my grandchildren with ease. That's one of my goals.
That's right.
So, I really appreciate the advice, and I find your life an inspiration, and this book's in my library for good, that's for sure. But I'll definitely gift copies of it. I'm not giving away my copy, but I'll send out some
gift
copies of it this upcoming holiday season, things like that.
I appreciate that, and all praises go out to Josh Bryan. Okay,
absolutely.
He's a wonderful cat. He's a good cat. Yes, I appreciate Josh. Yes, I do.
I've enjoyed speaking with him, and he sings your praises. And yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, sir. And thank you very much, listeners, for listening to Home Gym History. My name is Rob, and you can find me at vintageweightspgh.com. You can find all my videos, my content there. And of course, please subscribe to Garage Gym Radio on YouTube, where you can find Home Gym History, as well as the other podcasts on the Garage Gym Radio Network. Home Gym Con 2024 is coming up this April, the second gathering of home gym owners. That'll be in French Lick, Indiana, the last weekend in April. You can buy your tickets now at homegymcon.com. I hope to see you there. I'll be doing some live podcasts, and I'm already looking forward to it. Until I see you there, please make sure you check out all my future episodes of Home Gym History and go down to the description so you can pick yourself up a copy of Josh Bryan's book about Craig Monson.